Hi, I'm Patrick Sullivan. This is Recurring Insight, and for this episode, I'm going to be talking about Overrun. I love talking about Overrun because besides being just an iconic and sweet design, it really highlights how players have certain cognitive biases around cards that really only show up when the caster is playing it to win the game that turn.
Part of the reason that I wanted to talk about Overrun is because I'm over a decade in terms of my professional career, of using the term Overrun Fallacy to describe a certain cognitive bias that causes players to overrate certain types of cards. When I say Overrun Fallacy, what I mean is, let's imagine you and I are playing a set of games, and you have Overrun in your deck. And so we're playing, and you're casting Overrun, and when you cast Overrun, you kill me. And I'm likely to draw the conclusion that Overrun's really powerful. What I don't see are the games where the Overruns are rotting in your hand, because you either can't cast it, or I have enough blockers and removal that it's not for lethal, or whatever the case may be. And so players often overrate cards where they only see it cast when it's winning the game, and don't see the opportunity cost of all the times it's not getting cast. Overrun is extremely appealing. It was important at the time too, because people really liked playing green aggro decks, and there just wasn't enough rate in them for them to be competitive options. It's not like Overrun made mono green suddenly tier 1, but it was a plausible thing that you could play, and that was a nice change of pace for how control dominated Magic kind of was up until that point. The card doesn't play particularly well, by which I mean it kind of just rests on a binary of, is this lethal or not? Because it just gives +3/+3, it's a flat number, that doesn't change. There's no like dynamicism to that process. And because it gives trample to all of your creatures, your opponent's not really in a position to manage what's happening other than trying to put the most toughness in front of the most power. And so the card is not exactly the most dynamic thing in practice. It does not take a whole lot to get that over the line. For example, Overwhelming Stampede. Same effect, except instead of +3/+3, it talks about what's the creature you have with the greatest power. Now we've got something interesting going on. First of all, the incentive on Overrun is very much just flood the battlefield with tokens. This is telling you to play at least one big thing. Second, the interaction your opponent has is way more satisfying because they can kill the biggest thing in response, and now maybe they've meaningfully changed the number. And 3, it's less of the binary experience because there's times where you want to wait to find a larger creature or have an insurance policy against your opponent having a removal spell for the biggest thing while the card's on the stack. So even that slight little tweak basically solves all of the play pattern issues that I have with Overrun. And to be clear, I think Overrun is a great card to do. I just wish it was slightly more dynamic, slightly less about just checking to see if you have lethal or not. But with small tweaks, it really gets it over the line. That said, it's a wonderful design. There's a reason that it's so iconic in spite of a major tournament staple it's shown up from here and there, but mostly because of how dramatic it is, how cool the experience is, and how much love it gives to play patterns that have historically been underrepresented in competitive settings.
So that was Overrun, and this is Recurring Insight. Make sure you're subscribed to the Star City Games YouTube page so you can get notified when new content is uploaded to the page, and keep the comments coming up as well. I'm looking for a white card. We don't talk about the white cards enough. Maybe there's a reason for that, but specifically next week I want to do a white card, so if there's a white card in particular you want me to talk about, now is a very good time to make that request.